Whoa. Holy cow. All right, they're showing me a tweet of huge breaking news that the Nuggets have fired head coach Michael Malone. Denver's on a 4-game losing streak right now. What is happening in the NBA? So, last week the Grizzlies fired their coach out of the blue, and now Michael Malone, who won a title with the Nuggets just a few years ago, a couple years ago, he's fired? Holy cow. All right, so breaking news. We're going to have to tear up the show. I'm going to have to do some hard work during the commercial break to find out what the hell happened. My goodness, Michael Malone fired as coach of the Nuggets. We'll be back with some updates on that next. The Denver Nuggets, who won the NBA championship in 2023, have fired their head coach, Michael Malone, and their GM, Calvin Booth. Ladies and gentlemen, the playoffs start in like 10 days in the NBA. What is happening? Now, I was scurrying during the break to get some information. It's so weird because I think yesterday I alluded to Denver being a bit of a mess, and this morning I saw that Jamal Murray's hurt. And the way Michael Malone is talking lately, he's just talking kind of wild. But that has historically been his MO. He's a Queens guy, grew up in the Northeast. He's a tough talker. He's a little combative. Do you remember when the Lakers beat Denver one game in that series in the playoffs, and he came back and, the Lakers won one game. He's just basically, you guys are talking trash about us? I can't believe it. We're going to destroy them. He said, like, put it in your pipe and smoke it. He was really just aggressive, and this is his nature. And there are reports I'm reading that maybe he was kind of sort of losing the locker room in Denver. Again, he is a mouthy individual. There's nothing wrong with that. As a coach, that can work for so long. But when you're not winning, the staff here found some numbers for Jokic in April. Okay, this is real. He's averaging 45 points, 12 boards, and 10 assists in the month of April. They're 0-3. Like, how are you not winning in crunch time? They were looking at being the 3 seed. They could potentially fall to the 6, 7, 8, maybe into the play-in. They don't have any wins with Jokic putting up huge stats. Now, obviously, the Jamal Murray injury, and Jamal Murray always seems to be hurt, that's kind of damaging. You do have who I believe is the best player in the league, who I would have as MVP in Nikola Jokic, putting up historic great numbers, but it just doesn't seem to be working. Now, early in the season, and Murray hasn't played in the last 2 weeks because he's so banged up, and obviously that hurts. Christian Brown and Russell Westbrook, that's not a backcourt that scares anybody. But one of the interesting things about Denver is that Malone historically doesn't like playing young guys. They don't always know how to play. There's a steep learning curve. You got to deal with a lot of dumb turnovers and bad shots. He likes to lean on veterans. So the GM of the Nuggets gave this big fat contract to Zeke Naji, who was one of these combine warriors, one of these workout dudes who's like measurements through the roof, checks all the boxes. He gets on the court, he can't play. And the GM still gives him a big extension, which was a blunder. They paid Michael Porter Jr. I don't know that he could guard half the guys in my men's basketball league. I like Aaron Gordon a lot. I think he's a good piece. I think Jokic is obviously a superstar. I didn't like the Russell Westbrook move, but it speaks to Malone having influence on the GM. Hey, man, go get me a veteran who's going to try hard and hustle. Michael Malone loves a good try hard. But the narrative of Denver trying hard is not there because they're not stopping anybody now. So you got MPJ doesn't play defense. Russ is a bit of a train wreck and out of control. Jokic is dominating, but looking around like, where's my help? And Jamal Murray's in street clothes again. So Denver is slip-sliding badly in the West. And as the staff pointed out to me, Taylor Jenkins was fired by Memphis last week. They were in the top 5 in the West. And Ryan, who, a longtime producer, he was actually my first radio show producer when I had a weekend show, said something smart. He's like, you know what? It kind of sort of feels like these teams don't think they can compete to win a title this year, so they're getting ahead of the coaching cycle for this summer. Hey, man, we ain't going to win. Let's just see if the assistant can be promoted. Let's see what he can do. If we could change some of the voices in the locker room, and let's think about the summer. So Memphis fires their coach 2 weeks before the playoffs. Denver fires their coach a week before the playoffs. The problem is Malone just won a title. He's the winningest coach in franchise history. He's been there for 10 years, and you fire him a week before the playoffs? Now, the staff is sending me some good stuff here. According to Ramona Shelburne, the situation in Denver is been tense and pressurized since the beginning of the year. Malone and Booth had big ideas and strong wills. Both are now gone. Again, this was a weird mix in the locker room. Apparently, Booth and Malone didn't really like each other and get along. They did not talk, and they spoke behind each other's backs. That's toxic. Man, when are we going to start reading about, are the Denver Nuggets wasting Jokic's prime? I mean, that's probably got to come next. Now, I did see one of my buddies who's a huge Knicks fan. I mean, the body's not even cold in Denver. And Knicks fans are like, can we get Michael Malone for Tibbs? Can we do that trade? Can we move off Tibbs? Tibbs, by the way, in New York is running his players into the ground. I think 4 like the top 30 players minutes-wise are on the Knicks. And you know what's going to happen when they get to the playoffs. They're going to be broken. Same thing happened to Tibbs in Chicago. Could Michael Malone, who instantly is going to vault to the top of every wish list around the league? Hey, man, I would not be surprised if there's NBA teams right now looking, do we love our guy? Should we go after Michael Malone? I mean, I don't know that the Phoenix Suns would do it, but remember, they ran off Frank Vogel, who I saw at an event a couple weeks ago. Very nice guy, does watch the Herd. Shout out to Frank. They fired him after 1 year. Well, Budenholzer comes in. He beefs with Kevin Durant. The videos are out there. Now, KD has downplayed it. But would the Suns move off another coach, 2 one-and-dones, and bring in Michael Malone? I don't know. It's possible. But, oh, my gosh. Alex, I know it's just breaking, and we're trying to get our bearings here, but it's just kind of fascinating, firing a coach 10 days before the playoffs.
It feels weak. It feels weak to your fan base. It feels weak to the organization. You're still in a playoff position. You are in 4th in the West right now, and you are throwing in the towel saying, I don't think we can do it. I don't think we can win a championship. It's not the mentality you want from a franchise, an organization at like the most important stretch of the regular season when you're in a playoff position. You suck. Like oh man, like you tough it out. You tough it out. Like, what are you going to do? Someone's not going to come in and make it better right now, the last week of the regular season and into the postseason. But it also, because we were talking about Russell Westbrook's body language yesterday when he was talking to the media. And now it all kind of makes sense. Like, oh, things were like not good behind closed doors. And you might have thought that might have been the case. And he was kind of giving that energy and vibe off. And this is just, whoo. It just, I don't agree with when you are in a position to win and you are in a playoff position, a high playoff position, like, why would you do this?
Yeah, something weird.
Why would you? There's something more that we don't know.
Well, I've been waiting for the Memphis story to come out on Taylor Jenkins, and nothing's come out. It's been a week. Maybe they're still waiting to do the TikTok, but and not TikTok, the app, like the story of day to day, hour to hour.
Got it. Okay.
So we'll wait for that on Malone. But here's another interesting note. So the owner of the Denver Nuggets is Stan Kroenke, and he also owns the Rams. Mm-hmm. What do the Rams have? A really unified front with McVay and Snead. They're like a tandem. They go everywhere together. They seem to get along great. They have a shared unified vision. It doesn't appear, and I don't know 100% if there is a shared unified vision between Booth and Malone, but it sounds like Booth wanted to mix in some young guys. And Malone was like, no thanks, I want veterans. Remember, he was reluctant to play Christian Brown at all. And I watched a video clip during the commercial about Brown meeting the media, and he looks young, okay? He's playing with Jokic, Westbrook, Aaron Gordon. These guys have been around, a lot of playoffs. And Brown looks still kind of wide-eyed and kind of shook and rattled. And I don't know, if your coach and the GM are not on the same page, it ain't going to work. Listen, if Alex and I are not getting along or we totally disagree, this is going to look awkward. And I think the audience is going to tell.
Yeah, but again, like, then let the GM go right now.
Yeah.
Fire the GM, but keep your head coach.
Yeah, Malone has won so much.
Like, it was 2023, he won an NBA championship. He is your winningest coach in franchise history. He's been with the team for 10 years.
His story coming from the Kings where he got run off.
Yeah.
Where, again, he is a combative guy. And listen, you can only battle with management long enough. When you're winning,
Yeah.
right? Hey, I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to do what I want. We're on top. I don't give a, now you're certainly losing, sliding in the standings, and all of a sudden maybe the locker room, then it's easy to move off of them, and you just make it a package deal. Let's get both of them the hell out of here.
But not right now. Right now, you're in fourth place. You still have like a winning record.
There was video of Malone talking about Jamal Murray and talking about his team, and I think there was a loss a Monday to the Pacers. That was what it was on Monday. And he came out and is basically like, yeah, nobody watches their minutes on film. Nobody watches film. He's like taking shots at his players like, I'm trying to teach these guys to watch film. They don't want to watch film. Hey, listen, it's tough to teach an old dog new tricks. I'm sure it's difficult to tell veteran Russell Westbrook, who's been in the league for like 15 years, hey, man, let's watch some film together. Hey, I'm a MVP. I'm a triple-double machine. I'm going to the Hall of Fame. I'm good on the film. Carmelo Anthony ran into some of this at the end of his career when he's bouncing around. It's tough to teach old dogs new tricks. And it's like, I don't know. I'm not ready to side with Michael Malone yet. Obviously, more information is going to come out. This literally just broke 8 minutes ago. But the Denver Nuggets have fired their head coach who won a championship. Must have been like 22 months ago? Yeah, 2023. It was like within the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So we'll obviously talk about this next hour. We got a NFL running back in studio. That should be fun. Gotta love when breaking news hits, right? I'm going to go get another coffee, get ready for the power hour. We're back.